Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to a mod tutorial on Flux networks. I'm in Minecraft Forge 1.16.5 and this is a very cool mod that I use a lot in my gameplay. I like it. It's a mod that gives you the possibility to transfer energy wirelessly between 2 points without cables, without anything else. So you can have stuff around the world and you can give energy from a source like your source of energy, like magmatic dynamos from thermal foundation or something from mechanism, and then use that energy somewhere else. And it's a very cool way of wirelessly make energy travel. It's like the Tesseract thing of thermal expansion back in the day, but only for energy, okay? So that's it. Let's begin the tutorial. So the first thing that you want to get your hands on, it's the flux dust. Flux dust is it's the component you need to start the mod. So basically, you need to find bedrock. You know where to go to find bedrock, and then you need to place obsidian 1 block away from the bedrock. So you have to put it here. And after you put down the obsidian, you have to throw some redstone in the gap between the 2 blocks, like that, and left click the obsidian. And there you go. I now have flux dust. So after you get the flux dust, you need to craft some basic crafting items in this mod, in the Flux Networks mod. So the first one, it's the Flux Core. So basically you use some flux dust with some obsidian and AI of Ender, and you'll get 4 Flux Core. You can also search for the recipes in the GEI, and you can see all the recipes for the items that you need. And this is a basic item that it's basically used in most of the items in the mod. After you get the flux core, you will want to craft a flux block. So basically the flux block, I'll show you the recipe here. Oops, like that. I'll show the recipe. So the flux block, it's a flux core with flux dust, like this, and you'll get the block. What this will give you the opportunity to do, it's that instead of going to the bedrock and placing down a obsidian and then doing the drop the obsidian part, you can place a flux block in a area that you want and do the same method, but instead of using bedrock, you will use flux block. So obsidian 1 block away, redstone dust in the gap, left click, and you will get the flux dust. So this is the basic part. So the flux dust, flux core, and flux block are basically the basic items that are used in many recipes throughout the mod. So now that you have the flux that you need in the form of dust, cores, and blocks, you will start to create your flux network. So a flux network consists of flux plugs and flux points. So the flux points basically provide energy to the blocks that are around the flux point or to the cables. So it will remove energy from your system, from your flux network, and the flux plug receives energy to put into the system from adjacent cables or machines. So basically the flux plug is where you will put the generation part, so like the magmatic dynamos, the reactors, and so forth. And the flux point is where you will connect the machines that use energy. So for example, like the crusher, the electric furnace, you know. And the recipes are as follows. The flux point, it's a block of redstone and some flux core around. And the flux plug, it's a flux block with some flux core around it. So after you get those two, you will have access to an interface in both of them where you will start to create your flux network. So now let's put it simple. To create your Flux network, you will need on the Flux plug side to put the energy generation part, so the cables or the machines that will generate the energy. Not cables won't generate energy, but the cables that are coming from the generation part. In this case, I'll put a Stirling dynamo from thermal series, and on the Flux point side, you will need to put down the machines that will use the energy from the network. So in this case, I'll put a redstone furnace from thermal series. And imagine like this gap, imagine that this gap it's a long way, so this flux plug it's over there and the flux point is over there, okay? So wirelessly. To do the wireless transmission of power, you will right click one of the plugs, so it can be this one, not the plugs, the flux point or the flux plug. So I'll click the flux plug, create a new network right here. Give a name to a network. I'll give the citizen energy source, for example. Give it a password, so I'll give a strong password, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give it a color. In this case, I'll put green. So this color will define many blocks in the network, so you can easily see which network it's for each block, and create. Citizen from the future, you can change the security from encrypted to private or public. So if you are playing alone, you don't need to have a password, okay? You can just set it up to public. So right now the network is created. So you now go to the Home tab. In the Home tab, please select a network. You will select your network. So now this Flux plug, it's green because it's connected to the network that I just created. And you go to the Flux point. Please select a network and select the same network. So now they are connected. I will demonstrate that they are connected. I'll give some coal to the dynamo. The dynamo is burning some coal, okay? And you can see that the redstone furnace is charging up. So the energy is going from the dynamo to the flux plug, and then wirelessly going to the flux point, and then to the redstone furnace. So now if I use iron ingots, not ingots, ore, you can see that it's working and there's a gap here. Again, this gap can be a long way between them, okay? The GUI of every block, it's the same, so they all share the same GUI. And I will first in this video explain the basics of the mod, so you can get your mod running, your Flux network running. And in the final part of the video, I will explain all the tabs and everything that you have, that you can mess with in this interface. So now that you have your production of energy going through a flux plug to a flux point and then to a machine, you can have storage. You have 3 tiers of storage. You have the basic, the Herculean, and the Gargantuan. And basically, I'll show you the recipes. Basically, the basic one, it's Flux Block with glass panes. The second tier, it's 6 basic flux storage and glass panes. And the third tier, it's the second tier one, 6 of them, and glass panes. So to associate a storage to the network is very easy. Basically, you will choose your storage, like the tier 3, tier 2, or tier 1. I'll use this one, the basic storage, because this is the first one that you will get. And just right-click the block. You will have the same GUI as the other blocks. It's always the same one. Please select a network, and just select the network that you want. And now you can see that it's filling up, and you are gaining 20 energy in total in your network. So basically, the production minus the consumption, it's a positive 20 FE per tick. Okay, so this is a way of storage. And not the rain, not the rain. Okay, So basically the difference between the three blocks, it's the storage. So this one is 1 million, 8 and 128 million. And that's how you connect a storage to the network. You now have a way of getting energy into the system with a Flux plug and then storing that energy in the storage and send the energy to another point in the world another dimension through a flux point. So now you can also have a way of wirelessly charging your Flux network by your Flux network. So basically, if you have items based on energy in your inventory, armor, or offhand, you will have that ability. To do so, you need to craft a Flux Controller, which is Flux Blocks, Flux Dust, and Flux Core. And after you build it, just like the storage and all the other blocks, you just right click, go to home, select the network that you want. Now it's connected, like the green part. And then go into the wireless charging tab. And right here, you can apply which slots you want the network to charge. So I'll say the armor, the curious slots, which are like the rings and belts. The main inventory, it's not available, but you can charge the hotbar, offhand, main hand, and don't forget to enable wireless and apply. Okay, so now the energy that is in this block and that you can see rising will be able to charge my items. So for example, if I have a configurator for mechanism, you can see right there, stored energy is going up, so it's filling my my configurator in my hotbar. Also, if you have armor, so for example, the mecha suit helmet, which has a lot of storage, but okay, it will start to charge because I selected right here, I selected the armor slots. So you can play around with which slots you want to charge, like all of them, none, just the hotbar, just the armor slot. And last but not least, you have another item, another very useful item, which is the Flux Configurator. So the Flux Configurator is with Flux Dust, Eye of Ender, and Obsidian. And basically, it's a way of you to access your network on the go. So you don't need to access through the blocks. So you just right click, select the network you want. Now it's a green Flux Configurator. So now I can access everything from my network, like every tab and everything. And also another useful tip: if you have like a Flux plug like that one, and do you want to copy the same configs of the Flux plug, you just shift right click this one, you will see copied configuration, and when you now right click this Flux plug, it will paste the configs of that one. Those are the basics, but before I go into the GUI part and the interface part, there is some notes that you might want to consider. So if you go into a block of your network, you can see that there are a transfer limit. So this is the limit that this block will be able to receive or send. So you can use the limit, or you can disable limit down here, and you can disable the limit or not. And then you can also chunk load the block in question. So if you have if you do not have chunk loading in your world, I will advise you to use that. So imagine that this Flux plug is right there and this one is over there. I will activate the chunk loading part. And if I have a huge generation of energy, I will also disable the limit. And if I have a huge consumption of energy, I will also disable the limit on the flux point side. Okay. And then you also have the priority, which basically says which blocks will receive the energy first or which don't. So if you have like this flux plug with the priority of 1 and then a flux plug with a lower priority, this one will receive the energy first, then that one. Okay. About the other tabs in the GUI of the blocks, so you can right click the block that you want, and in the home section you will see the name of the network selected, or the select network tab, then the name of that block that you can change, the priority that you can change, the transfer limit that you can also change, the input or output of that block or the buffer for the storage. The surge mode, it's a bypass to the priority. The disable limit, it's a bypass for the transfer limit. The chunk loading, it will chunk load the chunk where the block is. Then in network selection, you will see all the networks in the world that you have. So if you have more than one. Wireless charging, you can manage the slots that are charged. Network connections, all the connections in your network and how much they are input and outputting. The network statistics, so like how many plugs, how many points, how many storages, the input, output, energy, and the graph of that evolution. Then network members of the network. And network settings, you can change the name, change the password, change the caller, delete the network, and you can also create other networks to have separate energy networks in your world. So give it another caller, give it another name, another password, and you're set. That's it for today, guys. I hope you liked this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them on the comment section below. If you like my videos, subscribe and like. And tell me which mods do you think I should cover next, and I'll try my best to do a tutorial on them. And that's it for today, guys. See you next time.